All right, we're live. Welcome to MTN BUILT Monday. Thank you guys for joining. This is our weekly live stream from our living room today. So thanks for joining us. We're going to start the show with a tip-off. Me versus Alyssa and you guys in the chat. And what we're going to share is some tips for getting your first horse. Does that sound good? So as we get going here, I'll let Alyssa, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. As we get rolling here, drop your tips. If you're a horse owner, drop some tips for people about getting your first horse, because we want people who want horses to be able to get them. So drop your tips. Or horse, mule, or donkey.
Mule, donkey, horse, pony, whatever. Equine you could think of.
All the above. We got a bunch of people in the chat already, so thank you guys for joining. We've got Coy, Larry, Color Maker, Resistance Chicks, actually PG, Heavenly Pet Sitting, Anna. Thank you guys for being here. Where are you watching from? And share your dream horse in the chat as well. So, all right, let's get to it. So, I'll share a tip, you share a tip, I share a tip, you share a tip.
Okay. If my brain will work. I've been editing all day, so I got no brain left.
Got the mush brain.
Yeah.
Okay, my first tip for getting your first horse would be to, if there's any way possible, do it with a mentor. So someone who knows a little bit about horses at least, and they can tell if one is going to be maybe flighty, or certainly if it's lame, or just to set yourself up for success for, your first, you want your first experience with a horse to be enjoyable and not scary and a negative experience. So find a mentor that knows a little bit about horses to get you rolling in the right direction.
Yeah.
So that's my first one. All right, Alyssa, what you got?
Be realistic with yourself and your expectations.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because if you are very green at riding, don't go get a green broke horse. Get something that's going to help you. Like Jason said, find a mentor. That's really good. But yeah. And then also be realistic about the horse you're looking at. If you find an ad and it says, it's only had 30 days or whatever, like don't expect the horse to be perfect under saddle, because it's still going to be really green. So be realistic with yourself and realistic with your expectations. And they're animals, so they're not robots. Even if they're really well trained and you get it and you don't know how to ride it, it's probably going to fall to your level. If your level is high, then that's great. If your level's low, it's probably going to fall to your level. So
yeah, awesome. We got tips rolling in here.
Oh, sweet.
So Rosemary says, learn how to ride first. Go to a riding school. That's a great tip. Yeah, you could go to some sort of facility or barn, take some lessons, and kind of get off on the right foot. That's a really good tip.
Yep.
Crazy Canuck says, Jason, I did not recognize you without my beard. I'm assuming. Yeah, I feel like I look 10 years younger.
You should go back and watch our last live. Just skip to the end.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
I buzzed my face and my head, and it was shocking experience for everyone. Let's see. Okay, I'll go to another tip. So this one, I'm going finances, because buying a horse is a big financial investment. I think it's totally worth it if you're in a good position, and it's a leap that has amazing returns, like emotionally and just for like general wellness. Spending time with horses and mules is really refreshing. So I'm not saying not to get a horse, but I would say have a small emergency fund set aside so that the financial stress of owning a horse doesn't get you down. So like, even if it's just a few $100 for a vet bill that might come up, I think that will kind of put your mind at ease, because there's a lot of times things come up financially with horses that you're not even expecting.
Yeah. Horses will find a way to get hurt. Even if you make the safest facilities, they'll find a way to get hurt. So it's not if, it's when vet bills come up.
Yes.
Another tip is do a pre-purchase exam with a vet and verify everything, like age, health, all that stuff. So go through a good vet and yeah, get it checked over.
Yes.
It's worth your money.
Oh, this is a good one. I almost actually said this, Coy. Thanks for saying this. So Coy Lynn says there is no shame in getting an older horse. Older horses are the best teachers. And that is such a good point. Like Alyssa and I chose when we got back into horses and mules to get younger ones so we could have them for, decades. But for your first horse, that is such a good point that they can be great teachers if you get an older one. Even like low teens or something, as long as they're sound, they've been there, done that. A lot of times they're not as flighty, and they'll take good care of you. So yeah, that's a really good point, Coy. Thank you for sharing. And as we get moving on here, if you guys have any questions, we'll do our normal little Q&A on here as well. So let us know if you have questions. Location for hay or cubes. Yes, you want to have storage for keeping your hay and feed dry and not moldy.
We used to have just tarps at our old house. Well, and actually at this house before we built our hay barn. And man, we wasted so much hay with, tarps get a pinhole and then it leaks down in there and then it ends up getting moldy and stuff. So save yourself a bunch of money by building something in the long run. It's going to save you a ton of money if you can build a nice cover for your hay.
Yep. Someone said, if I don't know exactly what they said, but basically if a prince from Nigeria offers you a horse farm and free trained horses, should you take them? I think they're joking about the emails that commonly go around about sending money to.
Depends on the prince.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's legit. All right. Here's our first question from St. Elmo's Fire. Question: can you please explain about mules and their top lines? Henny, Jenny, Jack, and John. Which ones can you ride bareback? That's an interesting question. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Go for it.
Excuse me. I don't know much about hennies. I'll start with mules. You could definitely ride mules bareback. They don't have much for withers. So, and a lot of times their manes are roached. So withers will hold you in place, and the mane is kind of a little handle. So that makes it a little tough. But Alyssa rides Clyde bareback all the time, and she's only got bucked off once. So.
Yeah, that was funny. I jumped on him. I didn't have anything on him. So, probably not smart. But Jason, I don't even know what Jason was doing. He was like,
you told me to shuffle toward him.
Well, he was shuffling around, and Clyde was weird about it, and so he shuffled towards Clyde, and Clyde bucked me off.
Yep.
It was a very slow buck, and I just kind of fell off. I kind of failed, but
yeah, but
in the snow.
Yep. Clyde looked like he was sorry afterwards.
He really was. He came back over and picked me up from the fence, and he was just kind of like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, he was really did feel bad.
But to answer your question, St. Elmo's, I think any of those, Hennies, Jennies, Jacks. So Jenny is just female donkey. Jack is a male donkey. Henny is a female donkey bred with a stud horse. So a lot of times they end up being a little bit smaller than mules. But if they were the right size, you could ride any of them bareback. It's just, kind of a matter of preference. Probably a horse would be the most comfortable to ride bareback just because they're withers and mane. But as far as their top lines being strong enough, you could definitely ride Jennies, Jacks, and mules. And if a henny's big enough, a henny as well, I would say. Here's a good tip coming in from John Smith. Says, when you're buying your first horse, make sure the seller is willing to ride the horse before you get on it. And that is a good tip. You want them to show you catching the horse out in the pasture. You don't want to show up and it be tied up. So you want them to be able to catch the horse, tie it up, pick up their feet, saddle it, put in the bit, all that stuff. That's a really good tip.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Tim Humphrey. Are Clyde's markings getting darker? He looks like he's getting a blanket on his rear end. We were noticing a similar thing, Tim.
I don't feel like his markings are getting darker on his rear end. I need to finish his video. I've started on his video, but I have baby pictures of him, and all of his little markings on his butt are the same. When he was a baby, he's so cute. But he seems like he's getting more, they call them flea-bitten grays. They'll have little red ticks all over him, and he seems like he's getting more and more of those throughout his whole coat as he's gotten older. So every time he sheds out, it seems like he's getting more of those little red ticks throughout his coat. So
yeah,
Yeah, he's
We thought he
he's
was
cool.
getting a little darker as well. He's
Yeah,
a
when he
handsome
sheds
guy.
out, you'll be able to see all of them. He's much whiter in the winter than he is in the summer.
Yeah. Okay. Jesse, thank you, Jesse, for bringing this up. Jesse says, okay, I'm sorry. I'm distracted by Alyssa's gorgeous hair. Yep. She's not wearing a hat today. So she's got the pretty blonde hair flowing.
Still wet. I just got out of the shower. I was like, I gotta take a shower before I live because I've been editing all day and I've just been focused. So anyway, I needed a refresh, clear my brain before we jumped on here. So, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Our buddy Steven, our new friend Steven from Haste Draft Horses and Mules is on here. Good evening, Steven. We got to go on Steven's podcast called Harness Up. Man, I don't know how many days ago, 3 or 4 days ago, and talk with Steven, and he's a good dude. So if you guys want to see some more mule and horse content, follow Haste Draft Horses and Mules.
And our podcast with him will be out on the 4th, April 4th.
So like 6 days or something like that.
So you guys, we'll link it when it's out. So in our post or something. But yeah, you guys check it out. He has awesome podcast.
I just saw, sorry, I got distracted. At the end of Jesse's last comment, she said, anyway, mules and mustard. And I was like, I don't know what that means. So I just left that off. But then she says, Mustangs, not mustard. Mules and Mustangs.
Autocorrect. They get you sometimes.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, let's see. What else do we got? Oh, someone asked. Go ahead, Alyssa.
I was going to say my phone just updated. It got like the new update. And I feel like it like anticipates what I'm going to say worse. And sometimes it's like the most random thing. And then I don't read it and I send it. And I'm sure my friends are having to be like, what is she talking about? But yeah.
Here's another question from St. Elmo's Fire. Says, what is Josie? I'll let you take that one.
Was Josie?
Well, it says, what is Jose? But I assume they meant, what is Josie?
Yeah. We spelled Josey because she's named after Chief Joseph because her mama was Appaloosa. And the Nez Perce really had a big influence on the Appaloosa horse breed. So we thought that was fitting. And we had a fun little video. We actually let Josie pick her name. So we had, I think, 3 options.
Yeah, I think so.
And she picked Josie. But anyway, her mom was an Appy and her dad was a Dun Jack. I don't think we filled people in on kind of the drama with Josie's dad. But the guy we got Josie from sent me pictures of this like red, kind of red colored Jack. And he was like 14.2. And then her mama, the Appy, was probably 15.1, 15 hands, somewhere in there. She was a big, stout mare. And then someone on here actually emailed us and they're like, hey, someone is using Josie's pictures and saying it's their Jack's baby. And it was this Dun Jack. Well, so I just reached out to the guy. And it turns out he got the Jack from the same breeder as Josie. And I think that's actually Josie's dad. So I don't know why the guy we got Josie from said it was another Jack. But when Josie was born, he actually had already sold this Dun Jack to this guy. So he sent pictures of Josie as a baby to the guy. And so I think that's Josie's dad. And he's like 15.2 or something like that. He's a really big Jack. And Josie has kind of these Dun markings to her underneath her Appy coat. And so it makes sense that she's out of that Dun Jack. But the cool part was that I didn't know when Josie's birthday was exactly because the guy was like, I think she was born in October, maybe December. He didn't really know. And so anyway, the guy that had the Dun Jack, I was like, hey, what date did he send you that picture of Josie being born? So he was able to tell me that her birthday was actually in August. So kind of a weird roundabout way we found out Josie's real birthday and her real dad. So, yep, dad drama with Josie.
Who's the real father?
Yeah, who's the real father? What was that old show that like Maury or something like that?
That sounds familiar.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Josie needs to go on that.
And the real father is?
Yeah. The Dun Jack. Dun.
We love our Joes. All right, here's another question from Katie Crowley. Can Mustangs carry more than domestic horses? I would say probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, I mean they're still a horse, and they're bred out of a lot of domestic stock. So some people are really touchy about calling them wild because they are technically feral, but they have a ton of domestic stock influence. A lot of people would churn out horses to try to like better the Mustangs and stuff. So they're a horse. They're same sort of horse as what you have here. So
yeah. Good question though, Katie. Here's another good question from Ava Lee. It says, I've owned multiple horses, but never a Mustang straight from holding. If I were to get one, what should I look for? And that is a great question and something we've actually learned since we got Honey. So
curiosity.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, there's a couple things that we would do. And this sounds kind of rude, but maybe even like if you're going and looking at the holding facility, see what happens when they all spook. So like if you like slam your car door or something like that, see which ones come down like energy wise soonest. And also the big one is curiosity, because so much of the training is based off of that curiosity and them wanting to be drawn to you. If they're just indifferent and shut down, it just makes the process much slower and a little more difficult. So that's kind of one of the biggest differences between Rooster, our first Mustang, and Honey, the one that we're working with now, is Rooster had that innate curiosity that made him drawn to people just to check them out. And Honey is more like, I don't really care. Just leave me alone. I'll be over here. You stay over there, and we'll just keep it that way. So curiosity is a big one. Obviously, then there's things like confirmation and
You got to make sure they're not lame, because there are lame horses. However they got hurt out in the wild or whatever happened. So yeah, and I would look at their feet and all that stuff as well. So
then we have St. Elmo says, Alyssa has wonderful hair. Annabelle says, your hair is pretty. Thank you, Annabelle. I've been working on it.
It looks so much worse. Just so you guys know, it looks so much worse in the camera on the computer than in real life.
It does.
Like
it looks like
he looks so much more bald.
It looks
from whatever angle, and like I don't know. It's not that bad in person, so it just gets me every time I look in the
that line right there. Yeah, you guys probably saw how hard Alyssa laughed last week on our live when I took my hat off. Gosh. She looked at the screen and just cracked up.
I would never.
But thank you, Annabelle, for saying my hair is pretty. That makes me feel good. Okay, moving on. Here another one about hair. It says, what is it with horsewomen and all their hair? Barrel riders or barrel racers, dressage, you name it. They all have the hair. Dave Stamey even has a song that talks about that.
I don't know.
Let's see. Oh, here's a red question mark. All right. This one's from Megan Morris. How tall are Riata and Clyde? Most mules I've seen in my area are a bit too short for me since I'm pretty tall, and you both seem pretty tall in your videos.
Yep. Yeah, we're both 6 foot.
And Alyssa's legs are the size of someone who is 6'6". So she has like the longest legs ever. But Riata is 14'3" and stout. There's a big difference between some mules that are 14'3" and skinny, and then thank goodness Riata is 14'3" and sturdy.
Yeah.
And Clyde is, what is he, 15'2"-ish, 15'3"?
Yeah.
Probably 15'2".
He's like 15'2".
Yeah. Yes, John Smith says Moripovich is who we were looking for with who's the father.
Yeah, Josie needs to go there. That was a long answer for what is Josie, but now you know.
But yeah, so sorry, I got distracted, Megan. But yeah, it's like I don't know. 14'3" is about as short as I would want to go. Riata's right on the bottom end, and I'm actually planning to ride Taz a little bit more and kind of give Riata some breaks until I get the good saddle, because I want everything to be set up as comfortable as possible, because we kind of are right at that tipping point. So I'm going to give Riata a little break till we get our Reedvite custom saddle for Riata.
Excited for that.
Oh, I'm so pumped, man. I'm so pumped. But good question, Megan. I don't know. Maybe you can say how tall you are in here. And I mean,
I've ridden 14-hand cutting horses that were, fairly sturdy built, but it doesn't really matter as far as height goes. Obviously, you don't want your feet dragging on the ground. You can't ride a pony, but that weight ratio is more what you got to focus on. But yeah.
Sorry. I saw St. Elmo's Fire said, Jason, are you pretending to be a monk? I need like one of those like shawls. I'd really be looking good. Okay. Katie Crowley, we've had this question a lot, and this is a good one. Is it possible that because Rooster was rounded up so young and Honey was rounded up so much later in her life that it affected their sensitivity and curiosity? I would say it is possible, but we also know of many Mustangs that were rounded up older that do have that curiosity and friendliness, even band stallions that we've talked about. Like our friend Lydia has a band stallion, and he was much more friendly and curious right off the bat. So I think it has probably more to do with the individual horse's personality, although there definitely could be some of that. It makes sense that if they were like born in holding and there's just tractors driving around and stuff, they might be a little less wild than the ones that had to fend for themselves. And along those same lines, Alyssa and I were talking the other day about mares that had foals out in the wild, and they might have a little bit more of that kind of wildness because they had to defend their foal out in the wild from, potentially mountain lions, or coyotes probably aren't an issue, but like out in the Steens, there's cougars and stuff like that. And so yeah, those mares that have had foals in the wild, they might have just a little bit more of a defensive streak. So the hypothesis we have.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know why she's so sensitive around her head. Like that's, I think fairly obviously Mustangs are wild. You can't just go up there and pet their heads, but most of them will reach out and they'll touch you and they'll be okay with that. Once you start establishing some touch, they like get over it. But with her, she's really, really sensitive around her face. Like she doesn't even really want to touch like Clyde with her nose. She doesn't really like checking things out with her face. Like she's very touchy about her face. So I don't know with her in particular why that is. And that seems to be very uncommon. Like that's not something that's normal. And it's made it way more difficult because I can't start like touching around her face to get that neck tag or put a halter on her because that's like a no-go zone right now. So she's touched me a couple times and she's just like, I'm good.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's going to be a slow process, but we are also just trusting the process. We know that the horsemanship methods that we trust and subscribe to and follow will work. It just faster or slower depending on the individual horse. And Honey's going to be a little slower. So, okay, I'm getting behind on questions here. Thank you guys for bringing the good questions. Mary Babbler says, wait, did I get behind?
Yeah, probably.
Is it possible that because
it just scrolls?
Yeah, it does. It jumps on me sometimes. Mary Babbler says, what disciplines are you planning for Rooster and Honey?
Well, I did ride English for like 2 weeks when I first learned how to ride, but I haven't really ridden English since then. Not to say I wouldn't enjoy it. I actually think like jumping would be really fun if I had someone who could instruct me, because I'm sure I would need a lot of work on my riding skills.
What was that lady that rode to the horse?
Elisa Wallace.
We need to meet up with Elisa Wallace.
Yeah,
she's
cool. Into Mustangs and she rides English, so maybe she'd give me lessons.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll probably train them in a Western discipline just because that's what we ride. That's what we're comfortable with. And we ride mostly up in the mountains and on the trails and do stuff like that rather than, we ride in an arena a little bit, but we don't really show that much or anything like that. So I think some mounted shooting competitions would be really fun in the future. I just don't think our neighbors here would enjoy me practicing. So yeah, I got to figure that part out, but
yeah. Go practice out on public land.
Yeah, just go out and drive out in the middle of BLM and just Bureau of Land Management land and just practice out there. Set up some balloons. I'm sure it'd be fine.
Yeah.
As long as we pick up all the pieces.
Here's a good question from Elantari AEG. Says, once Rooster and Mesa are trained up, how will you choose/balance who to ride and when? That's a good question.
Well, Mesa is Jason's. So we had a horse named Timber, a mare named Timber. If you guys go back to our old videos or were around back then, we had Timber. Timber got diagnosed with wobblers. She had some issues for a long time. We tested her for all kinds of stuff. And anyway, ended up being wobblers. We opted to put her down because she was definitely in pain. You could tell like the others would be running around having fun and Timber would just be standing there kind of like something was not right.
It was really sad.
And so we trusted our vet's opinion, and that was his opinion, and we wanted what was best for her, and so that was what was best for her. So Mesa came into our life as a replacement. That sounds kind of bad because obviously, Timber was a special individual and she's not like replaced by Mesa, but we bought Mesa for Jason. And Mesa's going to be, I don't know how big she's going to be, but she is 5/8 Percheron, 3/8 quarter horse. And she's already 14.2 at the withers. She's butt high too right now. And she's not even a 2-year-old yet. She'll be 2 this coming month. But yeah, she's basically a 2-year-old, but she's already 14.2 at the withers. She's probably going to get over 16 hands, I bet. So that's going to be an awesome half draft for Jason to ride in the mountains.
Yep.
And Rooster is my heart horse. And not that Jason can't ride him, but I don't know. We just have our own horses that we enjoy riding. We share a couple of them, but mostly we have like his horses, my horses, mules, and horses. So
yeah,
we'll probably ride them out together.
But yeah, we want all of our mules and horses to be able to ride well and pack well. And so we'll just kind of alternate back and forth, with Riata being on kind of the little bit smaller end. I'll probably, once Macy is going good, I'll probably lean towards riding her on like long days or steep days, stuff like that. But we'll just kind of cycle back and forth and through. And same thing like with Tazzy. That's what I'll do with him right now is lean towards riding him a little more than Riata, but also keep Riata tuned up as well. So good question. Here's a interesting question that I don't know the answer to. From Yvonne Wayland says, how do Mustangs keep from inbreeding?
They don't.
They kind of just.
I think some of them do get inbred, but like the colts are ran off, out of that band by the band stallion. A lot of times bands will get stolen by other studs. And, if mares are on the outskirts, you have bachelor herds that come in and breed mares and stuff. So I don't know. It stays somewhat diverse, but I think there's probably a portion of it that's inbred.
Yeah. Good question, though. Never really thought about it that much. Same thing with elk. Like elk kind of rut in the same spot every fall. How do they keep from inbreeding? Just naturally, there's enough competition.
Yeah, probably.
Probably same thing with studs.
Yeah.
Tim Humphrey, good question, says, if Josie gets to Riata's size, will you start her under saddle? Yep.
Yeah, hopefully she will.
Yes.
When we did there's a string test you can do, and when we did that, she should be around 14.2, 14.3, and that would be large enough for us with how stocky her mom was. Her dad's kind of slender built, if it's the dun, which we think it is. But he's real tall, so hopefully she grows some more. But I don't know if we'll start her under saddle this summer. We were kind of thinking about it, but we might wait till she's a 4-year-old. So
yeah,
or I guess I don't know how old she is.
She's turning 4 this year.
She's turning 4 this year, so we'll wait till she's a 5-year-old. Clyde grew between the ages of 4 and 7. He grew like 4 inches in height and filled out a lot. So there's still hope for Josie.
Yep. We're pouring the good groceries to her and saying our prayers every night.
Yep.
Here's a question from Soul Songs. Says, first live here in West Virginia. Thank you for joining. With hindsight being 2020, what would you do differently if you were starting out your equine journey again? Love your channel and the mood, the images. You do a great job. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, if we wanted our journey to be quicker, we probably would have bought older stock that had more experience, because ours were so green. It took us so long to get to a point where, and we're still not really at that point. I mean, now we have 2 good riders and we could kind of pack Josie and Rooster, but it's going to be a couple years before they're really solid and we don't have to babysit them. And then Mesa is just a 2-year-old. So we started off with a lot of really green, really young stock. And so just is kind of the long game to get those guys all going and solid. The benefit of that is, you can raise them how you want them. And if they end up having an issue, you're like, oh, well, I caused that problem, as far as Rooster and Mesa and Josie go, So, I mean, Josie had a little bit of a rough start when we got her, but she's pretty much over that. She has a little bit of stranger danger sometimes, but Clyde and Riata, they already had some things that were not great about them when we got them from past experiences. And so we had to not only like train them, but also like get them over those things as well. So it was a slow process.
There's honey.
Yeah, there's me. Wait, right there.
I feel like a little kid at this angle when I sit back like this and Alyssa's leaned forward. I like a little kid. Okay, moving right along. Good question though.
Anyway,
man, thank you for the nice comments. Matilda says, "Hey guys, love the channel and content. Thanks for the lives. Thank you for the kind words."
Before we get too far into this, we have a video coming out tomorrow. We have a very big announcement of some changes we're making.
Yeah, so make sure you watch that one. We won't get into it here. It's too much. Oh, here's a good question. It says, could something have happened with the tag getting put on Honey? And I
who knows? I mean, like, the facilities don't, I feel like most of the facilities don't put unneeded pressure on these horses. That being said, who knows? Like, maybe she turned back when they were trying to push him up the alley and someone whacked her in the face. Maybe, you know, something happened when she was out in the wild and she had a bad experience with something with her face and she's like, oh, I stuck my head in that and that was a bad, you know, I got stung by a bee or like whatever. Who knows, you know? And maybe she's like, I'm not going to be curious anymore. Maybe, you know, it was something when she was rounded up. Maybe it was something in the chute. Maybe it was nothing. And she's just really touchy about her face. We don't know. But she is what she is. And it's a little disappointing because it does make it really difficult. But yeah, it definitely could. Something could have happened. But I'm not going to say like, oh, yeah, someone was really tough on her. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, here's two good comments. One from Jesse Baisden. Says, Jason, not to dominate the chat with hair talk, but if it makes you feel better, you got a Tom Selleck, Quigley down under kind of vibe going on with the facial hair. Thanks, Jesse. That is like one of the biggest compliments you could give me is to say either I look like Tom Selleck or Sam Elliott. So thank you. You made my day.
Funny fact. So when I was a kid, my mom had a picture of Tom Selleck over our washer and dryer so that she could look at him because she thought he was so handsome while she was folding laundry. Apparently my dad didn't care about this. Maybe he did. I don't know. But she had a picture of him. And so there you go. No wonder I was attracted to Jason. I've been looking at someone similar to him since I was a little kid.
This one has a question mark in front of it, so I will read it, but it's just a really nice comment. This one's from Dawn. Says, Alyssa, you look beautiful tonight. Love seeing you without a hat.
It's too bright. I end up squinting, and then I get these wrinkles right here.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, people are scared to talk to Alyssa because they always say she looks angry. So, it's like, true. People see her in public, and she's just like,
I am a lot of times just deep in thought, and I have a real mean mug when I'm thinking. So
she does.
I'm actually friendly, but a lot of times I don't look that way. And I look back at videos and pictures and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't approach me either. So
yeah. Here's a question from Vera. Says, hello from New Mexico. Have you ever been to New Mexico? And the answer for me is no, but I want to.
Yes, technically. I was on the Four Corners. So I stepped in it briefly. Does that count?
That totally counts. We really want to go and check out New Mexico. I've heard there's some areas of New Mexico that are really nice. Some areas are a little sketchy, but we really want to go to the Gila. We want to ride with Brett from Born 100 Years Too Late. He's from down in that country.
Yeah.
And so it's on our list for sure because I know there's a lot of cool stuff down there. It's just a long way from here in Idaho, so we haven't really been down there yet. I was really close, though. When we were down in Arizona, I bombed over to eastern Arizona, and I was like, I don't know, probably 20 miles from the New Mexico line, but I didn't cross over.
Yeah.
So we'll go down there soon, Vera. From Raphael, question. I might be overthinking this. I grew up riding/training Paso Fino horses, but love Western-style horsemanship. When I adopt my first Mustang, would there be a giant difference when it comes to gentling? I would say not really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what your methods are, but I mean, they're still a horse.
Yep.
Like, and after you get that initial touch and you can halter them and stuff, then it's just basic horse training from there, as if it was a, flighty, touchy horse. But it's just that like first touch and that first haltering and that initial step that's maybe a little bit different. But I don't know, maybe you've worked with really touchy horses. Like there's some ranches that'll just let their stock run free and wild until they're 4 or 5 and bring them in and start them all then. And so it'd be very similar to that. But yeah, so that's really the only part I feel like that's different.
I will say I was just at a what they call like a kill pen sale or a loose horse sale. And I was just there kind of checking things out and seeing what it was like and, just experiencing that environment. And I went in some of the pens with those loose horses, and you don't really know their background or anything, but it was a big kind of shock to go in with those horses and just see that they were kind of docile, especially compared to like Honey or going and looking at Mustang holding facilities. So even these horses that aren't like necessarily super well trained, you go to those pens and you like slowly reach up to scratch them and they're just like, why are you taking so long? Just scratch me, So, I mean, just the difference that you would expect, Raphael, it's like, that's a good question, and they're just wilder probably than a domestic horse would be. Sure. So good question.
Like Rooster now, like we would obviously never take Rooster to one of those auctions. Like he's gonna stay with us forever. But say Rooster was in that pen, I feel like at this point he would probably be similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't really have stranger danger anymore. He did for a while. There was a time where if Jason and I went in the pen with him together, he would like be aggressive towards Jason.
Yeah.
Like Jason couldn't touch him. He would pin his ears. He would think about kicking. Like Jason's aunt came over and visited, and he was kind of weird about her. And so Rooster's really great now, but there was a time when he was like, nope. So.
Sorry, I was reading these comments. Matilda says she also has RBF.
It's a real thing. And I try to work on it, but it just doesn't go away very easy.
All right, here's another question. It says, I noticed Honey does a head up and down motion when approached with the hand or flag. Unsureness, but maybe a vision thing.
I don't think it's a vision thing. I've gotten close enough to where I can really like look in her eyes and I don't see anything cloudy or anything like that. Not saying that there can't be something wrong, but no, they're just pretty unsure. You got to watch that. Sometimes that could be aggression as well. So like you do have to be cautious. And Honey has like every once in a while, I want to call it defensive, not aggressive, because it's all fear-based. But she will be a little bit defensive. Like you might have seen day 3, she kind of turned her butt towards me. And you have to just watch yourself around her because she will do that. And she's not trying to be mean. She's just trying to sort everything out. So.
Sweating. You could keep talking. I'm just really
That's
hot.
all I have to say about that. But yeah,
okay.
It's just her being unsure. She's just trying to check things out. And also, I will say too, the flies really bug her. She's so sensitive around her face. She has flies landing on her. And so a lot of times she's doing this because she's trying to get the flies off of her. So that also might be what you're seeing.
Yes. Yeah. The flies buzzing around her little chin. A lot of times you can't see on the camera.
Yeah. And they really bug her.
Okay. Question from Janine Chase. Maybe the hair loss on Honey's forehead may have her a bit shy about her head, maybe bumped or maybe a little sore, something like that. Maybe, but it's pretty much healed up. Like
it was already healed.
I don't think it's sensitive anymore, Janine. It's a good thought though, definitely.
No, yeah, she already had. So it looked weird in the videos, but that was actually all her hair was grown back. That's her summer coat, so it's really dark. So when we picked her up, all the hair was already grown back. You could tell she probably just scuffed herself, and so it grew back in with her summer coat, and so that's how dark her summer coat is compared to her winter coat. She's gonna be absolutely gorgeous when she sheds out. I can see the dapples coming through. I think she's gonna be so striking. Yeah. Plus, I also have seen a picture of her, one picture on the range when she was like a 2.5-year-old, and she's really dark compared to her winter coat. So,
a lot of people are in the same boat as you. They're saying in the chat with the RBF.
It happens.
And someone said you just look focused.
Yeah, I am just focused, and a lot of times I feel like I'm smiling, and then I look back and I'm like, I still look mad. Like even on these lives, I'm like, inside I'm smiling. So just know that inside I'm smiling.
You need a shirt
not on the outside.
You need a shirt that says that.
My face just gets tired if I smile that much. Maybe I just don't use those muscles enough. I don't know. You like take my cheeks up.
Michelle Stevens says, did you see that Cece bought her Mustang back? I heard that. I didn't see that. I was gone all weekend, but Alyssa told me that she bought Sparkler back. So that's exciting. That's awesome. We're excited to see what she does with her. That's going to be cool. Here's one
She
from
reminds me of Rooster. She seems really similar.
Sparkler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Friendly little bugger.
Yeah.
Here's one from D. McPherson. If you said before and I didn't catch it, why did you call him Rooster? We don't have a really good reason. It just felt right.
It just felt right. And we like Rooster Cogburn and True Grit. And yeah. That just, I don't know why we started calling him that kind of, but it stuck. Before we had several that we really liked, and so we kind of named them all. So there were several there that we named just so we knew what they were instead of like the big bay dun gelding, the smaller bay dun gelding. Like we just had them all named. So his was Rooster, and then we ended up adopting him and it stuck. So
I like it. I think it fits really good. Yeah. Here's one from M Days says, are there a lot of ticks when you're out camping? Love your equine family.
In the springtime.
Real soon, we're going to have to start doing tick checks.
Yep.
Which is gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, they start coming out, and it varies year to year. Sometimes it's really bad, and other times it's like not that bad. But we spend a lot of time in the mountains in the spring, and it's definitely something to pay attention to. Yeah.
Permethrin on your pants, on the outside of your pants, is a good trick to help you from getting ticks. So
this one from Noel says, who is behind you? And then it says, they pooped in and back out. I think it meant popped in and back out. Four-legged, not a stranger. What's funny that you said that, Noel, is last week someone said that Yeti pooped on camera behind us. So it's funny that you accidentally said that. Yeah. But
Yeti would totally do that.
Yeah, that's Honey. That's our Honey girl back there hanging out in the round pen. Okay. Let's see. Is that it for the questions? Yeah. A lot of people like with your hair down, Alyssa. So you look very pretty.
Thank you. I'm very tan right now. I'm almost a little burnt.
You had an idea for a fun way to end these lives. You wanted to say.
Oh, geez, are we doing that? Wait.
Well, we don't have to do it yet, but I was trying to remember what you said.
Saved by the question.
Okay, from Rafael Torres. Any plans to ride in Florida? Come ride the Cracker Trail. It's a week-long ride coast to coast on a historical route when ranchers would take cattle to the ports. It's in January, so still cold for Florida. That sounds awesome.
That'd be cool. Getting there in January with animals might be tough.
Yep. That would be tough. But that would be really fun. So I had an uncle. He's passed away now. It was my mom's brother. And he was a cowboy from back in the day. He was a houndsman. He was a bull rider. He loved his horses. He made his living breaking horses back in the day. And he moved to Florida. And in my mind, being closed-minded, apparently, I was like, if you like the Western lifestyle, why would you move to Florida? And he explained to me that there's a really cool cowboy culture down there in some parts of Florida. And I just I just didn't picture it. You know, you think of Miami or Tampa or whatever. But yeah, so that would be really cool to go down there and experience some of that cowboy culture in Florida in January when it's like negative 10 degrees here in Idaho. We would love that. It's just the logistics getting down there with stock. But that's a good question, Raphael. Thanks for bringing that up. Here's a question for Alyssa. Says, question about your hair. How do you cope with it down when you're out with the horses? I had thigh length hair, and I used to have to keep it up when outside, or I get it stuck in things.
It gets stuck in everything.
Backpacks.
In my mouth. Like when we're hiking up a hill, I'm like breathing it in. I always tell Jason I'm going to shave it, like his head. What did you guys think if I just showed up with Jason's haircut?
No, that would be too far. No, that's too much.
But I try to braid it a lot. When I'm not on camera, I wear a messy bun a lot and look like a bum. So
messy bun, yes, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah.
Jesse says, I watched a documentary on the Florida cowboy history not long ago.
Cool.
It was neat.
Yeah,
If it was on YouTube, you should put it in the comments because we love watching that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you remember what it's called.
Yeah, that's cool. Janine says, Florida has cracker cattle. There's a whole history about the cattle and the cowboys that tended them. Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to have to look into that. That's really neat.
Someone says, no. I wonder if that's about shaving my head.
No, don't shave it. Yeah, right. That would
cut
be.
It. So it was way longer than this. It was like thigh length. And then I had it cut like here. And they like layered it weird. It looked like I had a mullet. And I cried so hard. I was like 13 at the time. And it was so sad. And then ever since then, I've been trying to grow it out. And it finally is getting long again. I feel like it's taken that long. So it doesn't grow back the same. At least mine didn't.
St. Elmo's Fire says you'd still be beautiful.
Bald is I don't know about that. I have a weird shaped head, I feel like.
Desiree Varga says, man, thank you guys for bringing the questions, first of all. We appreciate it. It keeps these lives going. If you guys didn't have questions, we would honestly probably quit these because we are not entertaining enough to just sit here and talk. So thank you for bringing questions. And it's actually really fun for us. But Desiree says, how's your property search coming along? Well, we kind of shifted it a little bit. You'll find out more on tomorrow's video for sure. We are needing to tighten up our budget strings. We also started looking down in like the Southwest because there's some cheap property down there where you could have more space.
Not to live full time, just to live for like 4 months in the winter and then come back here.
So. Yeah, we don't want to be down there because it's just so far from my family. And I love being able to see my family in 1 day drive. And Alyssa's family too, obviously. But it's like, it would be really nice to be able to train horses year round. And if we had more space down there, like you could get some like 40-acre properties down there that are very affordable. So anyway, we kind of shifted it temporarily. Basically, things are up in the air. We're just going to fix up this property. Fix up this property. We're still looking around here, but we're just kind of in limbo. Like our whole life feels like it's in limbo a lot of times, but that's how it is with the property right now. Yeah. We would love, basically our bottleneck is still space. Like to do what we really want to do, we need a property that is bigger than what we have. But we're still trying to focus on being thankful for what we do have because we've been very blessed and we love this property. We love this community. We love the mountains around here. But we would really like to have a few more horses kind of in training and that we can like show video of. Because right now it's basically just like Honey and Taz are kind of our ones in training. And Honey is going to be a really slow process. And we don't have a space to get another one that would be a little smoother and quicker process. So anyway, the bottleneck is the property. We're still looking. And at the same time, we're just being thankful for what we have here.
Yeah.
And carrying on.
And I think we've talked about kind of our last two bummers with really three. One, we almost put an offer on and then we found out that irrigation was going to be stripped off the property in like 2028. So obviously that wasn't a good investment. And without that water right, it would just be a patch of sagebrush. Another one was really cool, but it needed a ton of work. And we were willing to do that work, but we needed them to adjust the price. And so we were trying to negotiate fairly and we offered, they countered, we countered again. And anyway, they basically countered with a horrible deal to kind of tell us like they're not interested at all. And it was a real weird way to do that. And so we just walked from that deal. It was obvious they weren't willing to negotiate. And so that was disappointing. That house is still for sale. They have not sold it. That's been a while ago too. So anyway, we're like, well, but then there was one that like all the seller needed to do was sign the contract. It was for sale by owner. We had agreed on all the terms and it sounded great. And like we sent the contract over, we had already signed it. And then they ended up calling us and they were like, well, actually, why don't we change this? And why don't you guys pay for this? And we had been really, really, I feel like really, really willing to work with them because they wanted to move to Florida. And like we were like, you can leave whatever you don't want behind. Like you don't need to clean the house. You don't like all these things we were okay with and really trying to work with them. And then for them to come back and do that, we were just kind of like, what the heck? And so both of us got this feeling in our gut, like this is just not a good thing going forward with. And so we ended up walking from that place, which was really disappointing because it was, you know, we had signed it and all I needed to do was sign. We'd already like verbally agreed on everything and really talked to him a lot. And so that was really disappointing. So that was here recently. And so we'll just be patient.
Yep. So far in our marriage and life, the right doors have always opened up and the wrong doors have closed, which is equally as important.
Yep.
And that's kind of exactly what happened with that last property that she was just talking about. That door closed totally unexpectedly. And at the time, it was super disappointing. And now looking back, it's like, well, maybe that was just a blessing in disguise. So we're still looking and waiting for the next door to open. Thanks for asking, though. We appreciate you guys, rooting for us. We really do. Mary asks, do you think it could be Honey's teeth that makes her sensitive? I don't think so. Just
probably not. I mean,
based on like her general posture.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to be in pain.
It's more just like fear of touch is what it seems like. I mean, once we get a little farther along, I have no idea how her teeth are, but I feel like it's just general fear.
She's only a 5-year-old, not saying they can't have something wrong with their teeth, but I don't think that's it.
Man, we got a few more questions here, guys. Here's one from Susan McKay. After you get more training on Honey, do you have to wait a year before selling her? Actually, we initially kind of thought you did, but we didn't really think about it very much. You don't.
You don't. You can transfer that the title over to someone else. Well, not even the title, but you can transfer ownership or whatever you want to, adoption, I guess, over to someone else. And you can even like say, because of all the training, we're going to ask this for Honey's like rehoming fee. Well, then you could transfer the title or transfer that adoption, and also they could pay you on top of that. So that's the way you can do that before the 1 year. So we could, I wouldn't be surprised if it takes Honey 1 year before we really feel like she's ready on the ground for someone else. Just, we'll see. I'm waiting for it to all click with her. The trend is definitely upward, but she has these like little pitfalls and she's kind of like working with a new horse every day. There's different things come up. And so I adjust my approach with her, depending on the day and what I feel like she needs, and just trust myself to do what's best for her. So we'll see, but eventually I think it's all going to click with her at some point. So, but she's definitely improved with a lot of things. And the cool thing about Honey is it's really just people she's really timid about. Like I have the little horse bouncy ball in there and that thing's like blowing around in the wind. Does not care at all. I put a tarp in there and just folded it up small at first and let her get used to it. Now it's all the way stretched out. She'll just walk back and forth across it. Does not care about that tarp. I've started hanging the tarp up on the fence, and like we had a windstorm today and that tarp's just flapping around. She was literally laying next to that tarp taking a nap today. Like, and the tarp is like in the wind. She does not care at all. So she's really interesting. Like that kind of stuff, does not care. So as soon as she finally trusts people, I think she's going to be so cool, because like she just doesn't care about stuff like that. She really doesn't care about the other horses.
Yeah.
Like Clyde, people are asking if I'm going to, have Clyde help train her, and I'll probably bring him back in at some point, but she was kind of interested in him the first couple times, and then eventually she was just kind of like, I don't really care about you. And she actually even started getting, not necessarily aggressive towards Clyde, but she was kind of like, yeah, don't touch me, get away from me. And so I don't want to leave him in there, because I definitely don't want Clyde getting kicked. So, because he's my buddy and I don't want him to get injured. But yeah, she kind of just doesn't really care about the other horses very much at all.
Yep, she's independent.
She's very independent.
Let's do a couple quick hitters here. St. Elmo's Fire says, what time is tomorrow's video scheduled for?
It is scheduled. Good question. I think 11:15 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Nailed it.
I'm going to check. So Jason's going to talk for a second.
Next question from Rosin Rider. Why Wade saddles over a ranch saddle? For me, that's an easy one. When I started in horsemanship, I just chose a horseman that I liked and trusted, and that was Buck Brannaman. And that's what he rode in, and that's what I'm comfortable with now. And so that's just what I stuck with. It was just kind of to keep it simple. But I think having a swell on your saddle is nice. A lot of people who ride in Wades, they'll just put buck and rolls on there anyway. But I think the main purpose, which doesn't apply to me, of a Wade saddle is a lot of times it'll sit a little closer to your horse's withers. So if you're roping, it doesn't have that torque of a higher horn like a lot of like classic saddles have. So that's why I ride in a Wade, because I just copied everything Buck Brannaman.
I just think they're comfy. I've ridden in one for years, and I don't know. I guess I like them. I don't like a swell fork on my saddle. I don't like feeling like I'm being held in. I know that's better if one goes to bronking around with you, but for me, I kind of feel claustrophobic. I like not having buck and rolls or anything on there. So I like
What
that
time?
slick fork. 11:15 a.m. Mountain Standard Time tomorrow. So
thanks for asking. That's going to be a big one. Make sure you tune in.
Big announcement. And we also go for a fun ride and end up getting in some steep country.
Too steep.
So it'll be hopefully entertaining.
Karen says, greetings from Ohio. Have you ever watched Steve Young horsemanship in the UK? Some of his techniques are very helpful. Look at the horse's feet and not stare him in the eyes. We've checked it out a little bit, definitely. He does seem like a good horseman. And we appreciate the recommendation, definitely. Katie says, I like that Honey is going to be a slower process. I think she will be an amazing horse someday, and it will be exciting to see the transitions. And then she said, sorry for the caps. I don't know what happened there. You're just really
excited.
Yeah.
You should read it like it's all caps.
Yeah. Super adamant.
Really loud.
Yeah, Honey is going to be awesome. And we're going to share the whole thing despite all the comments that are kind of frustrating. We're going to share the whole thing because it'll help people in the future. So not every horse's journey is the same. So I'm going to be patient with her. I'm not going to push her. And but some people watching don't have patience, I don't think. So I do want to actually expand upon that a little bit. We've been getting quite a few negative comments, which is a little bit discouraging. It's our goal in having this channel is to share our way of life and share it in a positive manner. The world is crazy, especially right now. And we want to be just like a wholesome, positive, entertaining, and a little bit educational in the Western world channel. So that's our goal. And I don't know, lately, it seems like there's been an influx of some negative comments. And when you get literally thousands of comments and you get 20 negative ones, that's not a very high percentage, but they do kind of stick with you. So we might take a break from reading all the comments. So keep sharing positive comments. We appreciate it a ton. But make sure you tune in to these lives because we might not be responding to comments as well, just because it just has kind of a negative impact on your day when you see someone, even though it's someone we don't know and whose opinion, frankly, doesn't matter. If someone is being rude or insulting, you just have that gut feeling of like, ugh, like it just makes you feel yucky, and we don't really want that negativity in our life. So make sure you tune into these because this is a good way to stay in touch with us.
Yeah. And I will say, like, our channel, we try to be very transparent. And, like we've said, we're not professional horse trainers. We're just sharing our journey with horses. And there's definitely actual professional horse trainers that I ask for their opinions or, that I really trust. And so if I feel like I need help, then I reach out to those. But there's, like we could try to make everything look totally perfect and hide stuff, but that's not what our channel is. Our channel is real, and we're going to share the process. And if it's slow with a horse, then that's what we're showing. Taz has anxiety, like that's what we're showing, because that's actually what's happening and that's real. And it opens the door for people to give you opinions when you aren't looking for opinions. You're just sharing your journey. And the other thing is, everyone has a different opinion. So you could do something one way, and there's people that are like, oh, you need a treat train. And then there's people that are like, never feed a horse out of your hand. And so there's like all kinds of things coming in, you know, from all sides and all different opinions. And so at the end of the day, we're just going to do what we feel is best. And, you know, we're going to trust the horsemen we've learned from. And I do enjoy exploring all different types of horsemanship. I'm very open-minded when it comes to that. And I don't have all the answers with Honey, you know, and so, but that being said, I'm not giving up and I don't feel like we're stuck with her. It's just going to be a longer process. So, you know, we're just going to keep sharing the journey and, you know, maybe you'll learn what to do. Maybe you'll learn what not to do. So, but you can come with us anyway. So, yeah.
Okay, get ready for the dogs to bark. The FedEx guy just pulled up. So.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't knock on the door.
Hopefully he's very stealthy. Katie Crowley says, do you think Honey will be a better fit for experienced owner or maybe intermediate?
I don't know yet. She might be super, super gentle. He didn't see you. Hopefully he doesn't knock. Just sorry, the FedEx guy is like setting boxes. Okay, nice. He didn't bark. Or he didn't bark. He didn't knock. The dogs didn't bark. They're sleeping. Anyway,
it's yet to be determined, Katie.
Because once she gets over her weird thing with people, she might be really gentle and really easy. Or maybe she's always a little bit of stranger danger. Nope. Come here. You're fine. I heard his door shut. Good dogs. Good dogs. Good girl.
So yeah, to answer your question, it's yet to be determined. Something could click and she could be just really good with everyone, or she might always have a
like we'll just find her a good home.
Good girl.
Either at a sanctuary or something like that. We're not going to relinquish her, but we'll keep her for the year and then we'll figure it out. I don't think that's going to be the case, but whatever ends up happening with Honey, like we'll just do whatever we feel like is best for her and go from there. But she's definitely making progress and she seems like she's a really cool horse. So like I said, I don't foresee that happening, but
no,
we'll just do whatever we need to.
Alyssa's in the thick of it, training with her every day. I can watch from the outside and I can see the general trend a lot more clearly from where I'm sitting. And Honey has come a long way considering how touchy and wild she was. So I think things will definitely click and they'll start to really roll. Cece is here. Hey, Cece. Says, put more filters on and show the Debbie Downers the door. I think there's a lot of wisdom in that.
Yeah, I found the perfect, I wish I could share it right now. I found the perfect short the other day, and it was like these two people walking along next to, it's a little cartoon, but it's like these two people walking along next to a donkey, and people are like, geez, they don't even know how to ride a donkey. So the guy jumps on, and then they're like, oh, geez, look at that guy making his wife walk. And so then they both jump on, and then a guy's like, oh, look at them, that poor donkey, both of them riding it. And so then the guy jumps off and they're like, oh, you know, making a whip sound like the wife is cracking the whip. And anyway, the point of it was no matter what you do, there's going to be people that are like going to post negative things and have negative things to say. And so it was like so perfect. But anyway, I wish I could share that with you guys right now. But that's kind of how it feels sometimes. You're like, oh, geez.
It's true. Can't win on social media.
No.
That's why I think a lot of people with big followings end up not reading the comments is because
you just can't.
You just get bombarded with, you know, people virtue signaling or, you know, whatever. Not to dwell on negativity. Next question. This one from D. McPherson. Do you go live on your hunting channel? Not yet, but once we get that thing up and going, we might go live on there to where we can talk a little more specific about that part of our life with people who are interested in it. I think we probably will.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I actually hadn't even thought about it, but that would be really fun.
Michelle Stevens says, thoughts on Road to the Horse finale? Yeah, we watched it. We really enjoyed it.
That was fun to watch.
What was the lady's name again? The English lady?
Elisa Walls.
Elisa, she did really good. We were so impressed with her horse, just going through those obstacles.
So her horse is cool.
It was awesome. And then Nick Dowers, love his mustache, and he's also a great horseman. We really enjoyed watching him and rooting for him. And then Ryan Rose did good. It was just enjoyable to watch. It was enjoyable to watch
Tiffany
the different.
Did great. Yeah. They all did great.
Yeah, it was enjoyable to watch the different styles and the different outcomes and the different colts and their personalities.
Yeah.
It was cool. I wish they had more of those so we could watch it all the time because we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's easy to watch and be like, oh, you know, maybe they should do that or whatever and stuff. Like people were commenting on it. But man, if you were down there in that situation, that would be so tough in the moment, just figuring out what to do. You have so little time, and it's really impressive, both horses and trainers, what they get done. So it's pretty cool to watch.
We really enjoyed it. Here's one from Nancy. Says, it's obvious you're such best friends and have great relationship. Do you two ever have arguments? Love your channel. Thank you, Nancy. We do have arguments. I don't know. I feel like in every marriage, there's things that there's points of friction, you know, whether it's finances or the way you fold towels, or these are all obviously not our situation.
No, but I will tell you a funny story of like one of our biggest arguments we've had and one of our earliest arguments we've had and what it was over. So I was trying really hard to food prep and I had these glass containers, right? And so I was trying to be so good. I was trying to lose some weight and get healthy, and I was food prepping. And so I'd have these glass containers. And at the time, Jason was in between jobs, not his fault. Like he had just moved and we'd just moved it. So anyway, he was mostly the one at home doing the dishes. And so I would go to work and then I would I would do like, you know, 2 or 3 glass containers a day because I like have all my meals prepped and I would be gone all day at work. And anyway, we didn't have a dishwasher. And so he would have to.
I was dishwasher.
He was the dishwasher. And so he would hand wash all those dishes. And I remember he was just like, can't you just put all this food into one container? And for me, I like had separated it all out. So I had, you know, all my macros and everything. And so I was like, no, like I'm trying to be healthy. I need your support on this. And he was so tired of washing dishes. So that was probably one of our biggest arguments.
You finish the dishes and then she comes home with a pile of dirty glass Tupperware, just dumps them in there. Like, what the heck?
So let's have a vote on sides here. Who was right? No, I'm just kidding.
That's a good question, though. Yeah, I mean, we definitely have arguments and work through them. But you're right, we are best friends. We're kind of each other's only friends a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So by default, we're best friends.
We have friends, but they live so far away. Like I talk to them on the phone and stuff, but like my friends are in Wyoming and Montana and Oregon and Alaska. I have a friend in Idaho, but she lives a ways from us, and we're both really busy is the main thing. So
yep. Thankfully,
we never see.
We're both always pushing in the same direction, whether it's paying off debt or the passions that we enjoy, which is just being in the mountains with our horses, mules, family, hunting trips, stuff like that. Thank goodness we're not totally divided where like she wants to go to Paris and I want to go to Wyoming and look for elk or, you know, something like that. We're very similar. And so we're always pushing in the same direction, which makes it much easier, I think. Yeah. So huge blessing to have a husband or wife that is pushing in the same direction. Here's a fun question from Vera. What state would be your first choice to move? I know mine. If we had to leave Idaho, I know mine.
Yeah, Idaho is our first choice, but then probably Wyoming.
Wyoming. Yep. There's a lot of cool states, but I think Wyoming and Idaho are the top 2 for the lifestyle that we enjoy. Yeah. We better just do a couple more because I hear mules screaming out there.
Yeah, we need to go feed them.
It's getting dark. I
don't know what time it is.
We're losing our light.
I think we're late to feed them. Yeah.
After 8 o'clock.
It's feed time.
Josie says, you all are a bright light in this dark world. Don't let the negative ones get you down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, wow, there's a lot of comments that say similar things. Thank you.
We appreciate it.
We'll do this. Oh, no, that one's the same one about Road to the Horse. Question about the Road to the Horse. Man, a lot of nice comments. Thank you, guys. Sunny Time says, been the dishwasher myself for 20 years. So we talk about looking at properties, and whenever I'm looking at Zillow, I like look at the kitchen. I don't care about the kitchen as long as it has a dishwasher.
Like, it has a dishwasher. Okay. It's permanently scarred.
I look at the pictures of the outside of the property, and if they have like an aerial photo of the property lines, I'm like, that's where it's at. Look at the pasture and the barn. But if I look at an interior photo, it's like, is there a dishwasher? All right, we'll take it.
It works out pretty good because I don't mind doing dishes at all, even by hand. And Jason doesn't mind folding laundry. So those are like our things.
Yep.
So yeah, well, we got to divide and conquer, as Ty loves us to say.
I don't mind turning on a podcast, doing dishes, laundry. I try and chip in where I can. Alyssa's really good at editing, and it's very time consuming. And so I'm more than happy if I can chip in by cooking meals or doing dishes or laundry or whatever.
Yeah,
so
he does a lot.
All right. I think that's kind of it. I'll end with this one. Dawn says, I was married at 17 years old. My husband was 18, been married 45 years, and we constantly bicker. Well, congratulations, Dawn. That's awesome. 45 years. Married that young, that is amazing. So congratulations to you guys.
You guys are still kids, so you got a lot to figure out.
So we appreciate you guys. And yeah, tune in tomorrow. We have a video coming out at 11:15 Mountain Time, and then we'll be live on Friday for Feed With Us Friday. Go hang out with the herd. So we really do appreciate you guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.